and the fourth episode of Cultural Connection has begun.
Woo!
Yeah.
So tonight's topic is one I have been very excited to do. Hopefully everyone can leave this episode with something they've learned. Today we will be discussing AAVE, or African American Vernacular English.
First of all, what is AAVE to begin with?
As said before, AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English and is considered a dialect amongst the Black community. It's a dialect that's been around for decades and has originated from the South.
Why is it such an important topic to discuss, though?
This is a very important topic to discuss because for many years, even up to today, Black Americans who use AAVE are seen as quote-unquote ghetto or quote-unquote uneducated, while many of the vocabulary from AAVE are used in internet slang, and some are seen as trendy phrases or words to use. Calling AAVE internet slang or Gen Z talk completely erases the history behind AAVE, and using it as a non-Black person shows the harmful double standards placed on Black people. It is deemed cultural appropriation. But of course, that is exactly what we are here to talk about today. Today we do have two special guests. Please welcome to, actually wait, give a drum roll first. Please welcome to the stage, Kanye West.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Kanye
goodness.
West, Savannah's favorite.
Hey,
Joke-
hey.
Joking. Sorry to get your hopes up, Savannah, but we do have two lovely guests, Marjorie and Savannah. For name purposes, I will just be calling her Sav. Please give them a warm welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marjorie, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Okay. Are we doing last names or does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. If you're
Okay.
comfortable.
Hi, my name is Marjorie. I'm a junior, and I am African American person of color.
Woo. Okay, Sav.
Sav. I am going to be a high school senior, and I am half Black and half white.
Of course, we are very glad to have you guys here today. Just a what do you call it? Just saying, it's currently 4th of July at the time we are recording this.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a bunch of fireworks going off, like a bunch, and some of us
Yeah.
are in the same neighborhood, so you're gonna be hearing that.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. We really apologize.
Just ignore it.
Just ignore it. It's fine. Today's not about America Day.
It's about Cultural Connection Podcast
Yeah,
Day.
today we're doing
Yeah.
things.
True.
We're doing important things.
Yeah, we're doing important things. All right. Of course, we have our usual members here today. As always, please say hello, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Trey, you want to say hello? No? Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry they're in the background. Sorry, I didn't want it to echo.
It's okay.
But hi, guys.
All right. At the time of writing the script, I accidentally put the introduction last.
Okay.
So
Anyway.
Lots of technical difficulties.
the
today.
introduction.
Technical difficulties.
Oh my god. As usual, if you're new here, we are a group of culturally diverse people of color who wanted to start a little podcast to start conversations about anything and everything within the spectrum of culture. As said before, our topic is AAVE, but instead of asking everyone the questions today, I will be specifically asking Sav and Marjorie. I'm sure all of us here, excluding our guests, have quite a few questions, so we want to be able to learn as much as we can. So here is my first question. Everyone has their own different perspectives. So I'm asking Sav and Marjorie specifically, how do you personally define AAVE?
Okay. I'll go first. Personally, I'd say African American Vernacular English is like dialect, or the way, I wouldn't say not every Black person, but like known amongst the Black community, like their own dialect and their own way of speaking.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that instead of calling it, like, for me personally, I don't like calling it African American Vernacular English because not all Black people in America are of African descent. So, like, it's a dialect within the Black community used to like express ourselves.
I see. So how do you guys feel about non-Black people using AAVE? Do you think that there are any exceptions for non-Black people using AAVE?
I maybe it's just okay. I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but personally, I really don't care. But then there's also like a part of me that's like I'm not gonna act like somewhat like a non-Black person using AAV doesn't like affect me at all. It does like leave a weird taste in my mouth, but it's not really my. It is my business, but I don't know. I just feel like I shouldn't go straight into like judging people just off of that alone. And for exceptions, I I kind of get like there's been arguments on like TikTok or like social media of like people who've lived in like Black prominent areas, and that's the reason why they would want to use, or that's the reason why they use AAV. I don't know. I just feel like it's a choice. You can choose the way you can speak. You can choose the way people be affected about how you speak. Yeah, I don't know where else to go with that.
I kind of agree with Marjorie. I don't like get offended if I hear somebody using AAVE, but I also think that a lot of people try to find like excuses for their over or misuse of the vernacular. Like you can often tell when a non-Black person of color is using AAVE as a way to appear a certain way. Usually that's like more aggressive or like more tough, which honestly like pushes this stereotype onto Black people that has already been pushed upon us. So it kind of furthers that stereotype, and that's when I get upset, when you are a person who doesn't normally speak that way, but you are using it to put up a front as something you're not.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's what I was trying to.
yeah,
Or
and
like,
I think. Oh, sorry.
sorry. Okay. Just to add on, I just want to say that like you can tell if something's artificial, like the way someone's speaking is fake.
Mm-hmm.
So like someone using the vernacular like just for for no reason or for their own, I guess, entertainment or something, like you can see that, and it's just like it's just pointless and kind of like why are you doing that when there's like a whole like background to it.
I also think it's very typical for like non-Black people who are like caught overusing AAVE to use the excuse, oh well, that's how I was raised. But like AAVE is regional, so the way people in Texas speak is a lot different than the way people up north speak. Like speaking about Black people is specifically. So you using the word finna when you come from Texas, I'm sorry, but that's not the case. You did not get that. You did not get that from your parents or the people around you, because that's not how people speak around here. Like a lot of times people will try to find like excuses, and like I think if you're just respectful and you don't use it to seem as something you're not, or you overuse it or misuse it, like you misrepresent the words and use them in ways that you don't understand, then there's not an issue.
I had a question. So talking about like specific words, I've seen like on Twitter specifically about people giving like like a list of specific words that are considered AAVE that other people can't use. How do you oops. How do you guys feel about that?
Are these
Um
lists made by
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna
Um
ask like are these lists made by Black people
I
or
don't
non-Black people?
I don't know, because there are some lists that are actually made by Black people, and then there are some lists that aren't made by Black people. Which like those type of lists, I'd be like, I don't know why I would listen to a non-Black person trying to tell me what AAVE is.
Right.
But there are
Mhm.
some that are like actually made by Black people. But it just like it confuses me. Like, do you think that you should be like not gatekeeping? That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, There's like just specific words that you're just like they're just like you're not allowed to say this. If you say this, you're racist. It's like
I don't
um,
agree with that.
it'd be like the
Honestly,
words
either.
like slay and stuff like that.
yeah, I
Like those
also feel like just condensing a dialect, like an entire dialect, into like a dictionary of words is kind of insulting, you know? Because it's not just, oh, you can't say as fuck, like, because that's just like not true, you know? Like, it's not boiling down an like, entire group's way of speaking into like a list of, at the most, is probably like 100 or so words. That's just like leaving out so many things that people, like non-black people, will like go through that list. Well, I don't say this, so I'm not being disrespectful, when they very much well could be.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I was gonna add that it's not gatekeeping, but yeah, I don't really agree with the whole if you shouldn't, like, if you don't say, or if you say these words, then you're labeled as such and such and such and such. Because I just lost my whole train of thought, and I had a big idea too. Oh my god.
Helps.
Yeah, I forgot completely. Damn it.
Ask then. I'm not really supposed to be talking right now, but I wanted to bring up something because I know that you guys mentioned that people who use AAVE as a means to appear a certain way or give
Mhm.
off a certain appearance, I guess, or
Mhm.
behavior.
Yeah.
What about people um who subconsciously use it or use it in order to either fit in, I suppose, with their environment or sort of just starting to use it because it's what they're around, like for example, school, right? Because
Right.
in school there's a lot of I noticed that it happens a lot, and I will also say that especially in middle school that's happened to me. I started
Mhm.
using certain terms, certain phrases that I suppose would be considered AAVE just because it's what was around me. So I just thought that it was sort of slang or just like a don't want to put it like this, but like trending phrases, I suppose. Like how do you
Yeah.
guys feel about that?
Me personally, I don't have any particular issue with people using it, especially if it's the case where you personally feel that this is like the only way you're going to fit in or whatever, because then that becomes an issue like with your own safety, right? So if you personally feel that, like, it's up to the individual to make a judgment call. I probably would side eye you a little bit. Not gonna lie, like, oh, I know you don't talk like that. You're just talking like that to fit in with people. But there's really nothing you could say besides like, oh, as long as you're trying not to be like disingenuous with who you are, then it's like not a problem.
Yeah, like as long as like I'm sure your intentions were like they weren't like malicious or anything. Like you were just
Hmm.
doing it because that was what you were around. So like that's fine. It's just like the main issue comes in where like someone using the vernacular and they know what they're doing and like they're overusing it and then making it be seen as something negative when it isn't.
Yeah.
That's when the real issue
Hmm.
comes.
sorry. Karen. This is a question for like the oh my god, how do I it's a question for other members, our non-black members. Have you guys ever had any experiences with AAVE? Or like any like experiences in the
Oh, well, I had a moment where I knew someone like personally, and then I know they don't talk like that, but then when they hang out with like their black friends, they talk like Like they change up how they talk, and it gives me a weird feeling because I know that's not how they talk. I was gonna ask what the our guesses would think if they were in that situation.
Ooh, let me think.
Mm.
So if someone were a non-Black person were to come up to us and start using the vernacular,
No, well, I guess it would be more like you have a friend that doesn't use that vernacular, but then when they hang out with a certain group of people, they start using it. How would you feel if you were in that situation?
okay. Personally, it would just feel in wait, it just wouldn't feel genuine. Like you don't need to use the vernacular or anything or any type of language to be seen like as cool or like more outgoing or something. Because like you don't have to prove yourself really to anyone. Like it really is just a means to look better or to seem cooler. But it's like that's not necessary, and I think that's what people need to understand. It's like you don't need to speak like that to be seen a certain way.
And personally, I on like when I interact with people like that, where I know for a fact they don't speak like that, but they come around me or my other Black friends and they start to speak like that. To me, I interpret it as a microaggression. Like I think that you are either trying to like speak to me in a way because you don't think that I will understand what you're saying any other way, or like trying to mock the way that I speak personally to my family or to the community I'm a part of.
I have a question about black scent. So, do you think black scent is the same thing as AAVE, or are they kind of just like, do you think they're kind of interchangeable?
I think the black scent takes. They're kind of like one and I don't. I guess one and the same thing. Like they can. They're not the same, but
But
it's
they
like
achieve the same thing, basically.
yeah,
Would you say they like go hand in hand or
Most
like
definitely.
okay.
yeah.
Like, like we all know who Woe Vicky is, right? Right?
Oh
Like
man.
just using her as an example, right? Like you have this very obviously non-Black person who tries to adopt everything they can from Black culture, whether it be fashion, hair, the dialect, a quote unquote accent that they think people have, and it's offensive. Like you are putting on a caricature of what you think Black people are, and most of the time it's done so in a way to seem either like, oh, you can't mess with me, like I'm tough, yada yada yada, or you're trying to seem less intelligent. And like these are all stereotypes that are pushed onto the Black community all the time, and that lead to danger within the Black community. So all that stuff, like I know a lot of people dismiss it as, oh, it's just like, oh, it's just an accent. Oh, that's just the way she speaks. But in actuality, that leads to harm within the Black community. And I personally see it as something a lot more serious.
Yeah, Wolviki is a great example of
What not to do.
everything gone wrong.
Yeah.
Great example of going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
and I think like what you guys were saying about Black sense, like a lot of people try to use the excuse of like, oh well they grew up around Black people who spoke like that, so they speak like that. But like
Mm-hmm.
I grew up around Black people. I don't speak like that. And there's like a lot of non-Black people that also grew up around majority Black people that don't speak like that. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're trying to use it as like an excuse to do that stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, it's really a
Yeah.
choice.
I also think that like most people, like whether like because you spend most of the time, like most of your time as a child at home, you go to school for a few hours every day, but most of the time you're spent around your family and your parents, right? So usually you end up adopting your parents' way of speaking. So I know Susan's parents are not speaking like that. I am so sorry. I know your
Caleb,
parents
Ace,
don't speak like that.
Chad.
Yeah, Chad, your dad does not speak like that. Stop lying.
Back on the topic of media, so I see that AAVE is like being considered Gen Z language or like like Twitter lingo and things like
Mhm.
that. How do you guys like feel about that?
Honestly, it's annoying, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Because like more and more people go on social media and they adopt like a black accent or a vernacular in order to like grow their like content or followings or whatever. And so these like companies, like for example, like companies that make, let's say, a T-shirt that's like, why can't I not think of a phrase?
Slay.
And that's on period.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
slay.
Yeah.
Slay or period, like those kind of T-shirts. Like these companies are just making what's popular and producing what's popular and producing what's or what they deem as what's trending at the moment.
Mhm.
And they're not taking these from like black creators or like black influencers. They're taking these from most of the time non-black creators or black influencers who adopt these vernaculars and slangs in order to seem cool.
Mm.
Most of the time.
Yeah. I also think like it's so common for black people to produce something or to make something their own, and for non-black people to take it and then rebrand it as something else, right? Like that's been happening since like the beginning of time basically. So honestly, I like it just annoys me. Like I laugh about it, I guess, but there's not much you can do. Like I don't know if y'all saw that like SNL skit about Gen Z language or TikTok language or whatever, and it's just AAVE. Like that's literally it.
The
And it
doctor
was just
one?
like, yeah,
Like the
yeah, that
hospital
one.
one? Oh my god,
Mhm.
that put such a
One, it
bad
was
taste in my
cringy.
mouth.
One, it was cringy, and that's like another example of like seeing people who very obviously do not know how to use these phrases or like use the vernacular correctly, trying to use it. And but then that's another example of people taking from black people and rebranding it as something else.
Do you think that TikTok trend where it was like, "Oh, it's the blank for me," and then they would go
Oh.
back and forth, like
Yeah,
bringing that
that's
back. Do you think that was like oh my
Ugh.
god. Do you think that was like like oh, I'm doing a hand motion right now.
yeah.
Just like snatch.
Yeah, like
Do you
taking from black people. Yeah,
yeah.
I do. And I also think like everybody's reactions, that's one of my biggest issues with people using AAVE, because they will take a phrase or something and run it into the
Yep.
ground. And it's
Ooh, okay.
embarrassing.
Like the period poo chow anyway, so if I hear anyone speak that phrase ever again, I'm going to bash my head. Like because
Exactly. But
like
like,
you said, they
mhm,
overuse the term and then they misuse it, like we were talking about. Like I've heard someone say like that girl's hair is bussin'. What?
that
What?
makes me want to
Yes.
vomit.
Are you eating her hair, dog? Like is it good? What do you
Exactly.
mean?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Like these
No.
are phrases that like me and my black friends have been using since we were children, because like that's how we were raised, right? And then to see people like I'll say a word after it's like trended or whatever, and people will like look at me like I'm crazy. Girl, I've been talking like this since I was born. Shut up, please. Don't don't come for my throat, please.
Right. Like the term, not the term, but when I forgot when it was, but once child anyways hit TikTok, they really ran that into the dirt.
Everything went downhill after
And then
that.
everyone was they're like, I thought it was Chile. Chile?
Oh, yeah, because that one
It's like,
vine of that like white girl.
they took oh my gosh. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I noticed within like texting or like through text, there are there are some words that some Black people will use. Like, oh my God, I feel so like I don't know how to say it. Not like offensive. I don't know how to say this. Like ion or something like that.
Oh,
Oh no, I know
I,
what you're
I
talking
don't.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like finna or anything like that. Like they'll
Mhm.
take like words and then like the way that they speak, they'll
They
message with
don't
it.
know how to. Yeah, they don't know how to say it.
Basically, but there are like some
Mhm.
non-Black people who also use that. That is considered like AAVE, right? Or like very
Yeah.
much considered like
hmm
trying a little bit too hard.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes, like, I don't text like that. But if I say I don't even know, if I was like talking to you, I'd say I don't even know. Like that's how I would say it. And I guess people like it's kind of a I guess trend or not trend, but it's normal for some Black people to type the way that they speak just to like honestly sometimes I do it when I'm talking to Black people specifically so I can convey my tone, but then non-Black people will see that and then try and adopt it as their own and then not know what they're saying.
yeah. Like just people just like texting the way they don't actually speak. Like when I just text like my Black friends, I usually just text the way I speak because I know they'll get it. If I'm talking to a non-Black person, I mean, unless I'm really close friends with them, I'll say it. But most times I just try to get the point across because I don't want to get that. Wait, what does that mean? What do you mean?
Mhm,
Wait, what did you say? I don't.
Exactly.
What's that? Like, I don't have time for that.
mhm.
True.
Oh my God, there was a question I was gonna ask, but I completely forgot it. Do our other guests have any more questions?
I kind of just
Well, I
have
try to think of
like a statement, I guess. But like when we were talking about like media, I feel like a lot of our generation, I don't know how to like put it into words. A lot of our generation, like especially non-Black people, started to misuse like AVE and like oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
Um I think a lot of our generation started to like use AAVE like in a way that I don't know, like excessively
Yeah.
from Vine. Because I think a lot of non-Black creators on Vine were mocking Black people and the way that they speak and like all of that stuff and making characters to mock Black people. And a lot of people, including myself, even thought that was okay because we were young during that, or at least I was young. I was like 10 or 11. So I didn't see a problem with it at that point, and I would use a lot of those phrases until I realized that it was an issue, like until I got educated and I found out it was wrong. So I think media has a lot to do with like misconstruing AVE and like the meanings and stuff like that and like the history, you know? Yeah.
Vine is like a great example because it wasn't just non-Black people overusing AAVE. It was also Black people, like King Batch.
Oh
He
my
was.
I wanted to
God.
bring that
Oh
up.
my
I want to
God.
bring that
I was
up.
gonna
That's such a
say
good
that.
point.
Yeah.
King Batch was like literally driving any Black think of into the dirt, and because he was Black, people were just like, "Well, he's Black, so."
Yeah, so it's
That's
not
true
offensive.
though. Like when he would like what do you call it? Like all those stereotypes. Like I remember specifically there was a video of him like playing catch like with a football And
I
he
know
was like,
exactly.
"Hey, Dad, catch!" And he throws the football, and there's no one on the other side. So
Yeah.
it's to like show that the stereotype that Black people don't have dads. And
Mhm.
it was like, to me back then, it was funny because I thought, well, it's a Black guy, so it's okay. But it's not okay at all because he's like, I don't know the word for it, but he's like
Perpetuating.
he's perpetuating these
Yeah.
negative
Mhm.
stereotypes, and he's making people think it's okay to joke about stuff like that, but it's really not.
Yeah.
And the Vine community was like, at the time when I was watching Vine, I was so little. Literally, I watched the exact Vine you're talking about, and I laughed. I was
Yeah,
like,
or
look
like
now.
Marlon Webb, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. There were so many like Black creators who would take any stereotype about Black people. There was that one guy who all he ever did was eat watermelon and made songs about
Wasn't that was Marlon Webb?
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know his name. But yeah, like they just take Black stereotypes and like basically tell their audience of mostly non-Black people, haha, you can laugh at this stuff, which isn't the case.
Yeah. Marlon Webb made a whole career out of that. It was
For real. It's kind of weird.
I didn't even know. Like, I guess I just never caught on the watermelon like thing.
Oh.
I
I didn't
never
catch
caught
on
on
either.
with that. I didn't even know. I was just like, oh, haha, guy is eating watermelon. Like, if he
Yeah,
would have
when I
done
was
that with
watching
any
it-
other fruit, I probably would have laughed too.
No, but that's true though. Like, I guess at my age, I never really thought about it as a bad thing. Like, I didn't think it was racist at my age. But like when I got older, I was like, oh my god. Like, I was 11 watching this man make racial stereotypes about his own community.
Right.
Mhm.
I feel like that's
Can y'all
a
hear that?
thing that's in every.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like they're like right next.
Gunshots.
Did they move closer? What is this?
God
It
dang.
sounds like the
Back
first
Kevin
purge.
Costner chapter.
The first purge.
Oh my god.
I swear they were way farther. They moved closer. I hate them for that.
It's actually King Bach, or however you say his name, on his way to attack us.
By the way, dang, he must be right
Yeah.
outside my window.
Oh my god.
What do
He
you
said,
call it?
how
I feel
dare you
like,
criticize my vines?
Right.
but I feel like the offensive jokes like made towards like your specific community isn't like
Mhm.
most every community, because I know in the Asian community.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
my
Oh
God.
my.
You know what
Just
I
kidding.
remembered?
Films like or like freaking Niga Higa, like his skits. Sometimes they're like hella racist,
And I
and
would laugh. I was like, haha. So
I would love
funny.
to like sometimes
So
I
funny
don't
that
know,
this man is calling me yellow. Haha, so funny. This is
because sometimes I'll be
peak
making
comedy.
those jokes. Like I'll be making those specific jokes as well.
Exactly.
Like,
I would be
"Huh,
like,
I gotta go eat my cat, bro."
or I would be
Like,
like, guys, I'm so not Asian. I can't do math.
my god.
I like.
Yeah. I
It's
feel
not
like
a bad thing.
I feel like that culture on the internet of like POC people, like not just Black people, but POC in general, creators, making jokes about their own community has like led to a lot of internalized racism among young people. Because like I remember
That's
when I was
true.
little, like I would always hear jokes about like, oh, you're like Black people are like poor or they're lazy. And I like internalized that. I was just like, haha, let me distance myself from my Black like heritage, you know? And like
Mhm.
it was a long time, it took a long time for me to like get over that because that was what I was like surrounded by.
And I think on the topic of like on that stuff, I remember when I think I was in middle school, I was around like 6th or 7th grade when this became a thing, but there was like some YouTube channel that would make these animated videos about like racial stereotypes, like music videos, and I'm pretty sure I showed Alex one of them. But they had one called the Black People song.
I know.
Oh my
the
god.
girl,
Yeah.
like,
I didn't mean to laugh at it like that, but I just remember you showing me that and the
yeah,
Asian
and I
one.
remember like they had an Asian one too, yeah, and they had a Mexican one. They had like
They
they
had
had
a-
one for like every race. They had one for women. They had one
Wait,
for
really?
every group that you could offend.
Every
They had
minority group ever.
every minority group. They
Yeah.
had one. And I
Mhm.
remember watching it in like 6th grade, and I was like, "This is the funniest thing I've seen in my life." And I looked back at it when I was like 14, and I was like, "Oh my god, this
Yeah,
is
it's
like
really
this
bad.
is horrible."
Yeah.
I remember when I first watched it, I was like, let me learn the lyrics. Like I was it was because I had no idea. I
Exactly.
had no
Oh
idea.
my gosh.
I was so young. I was like, this is all I heard was a catchy song. Like the all I heard was the background music and like
That's
the
true.
lyrics were easy to learn. So I was like, okay. It's just the like I didn't deem it as racist. I know it's so bad. But
It's so bad.
I didn't deem it as racist, like at all.
With things like I feel like all of those like offensive like jokes we used to laugh at were definitely when we were younger.
Yeah,
Like I know I was making and laughing at offensive.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's so
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh my god. Wait, I have a question for like all of you, like Marjorie and like the rest of the cast. Did y'all ever like internalize those things? Like how I said I did. Like did that ever become a problem where like you made those jokes so much that you like kind of believed they were true?
Talking about the thing that Savannah was like, "Oh, I'm not a real Asian. I don't like math." I thought the only thing that made me Asian was because I was good at math.
That's
At one
true. Yep, I think I internalized that as well because I've never been good at math and I'm still not good at math. And people would genuinely come up to me and ask me if I could do their math homework because I was Asian, and I was like,
yes.
I was like,
That
And I
was
think
so
it,
weird to me because like random kids would come up to me and it's
yeah,
like, "Oh, you're Asian. Can you do my math homework?" And I'm like, "No."
and I think it genuinely made me like think that it sounds stupid like saying it, but I mean, I think it genuinely made me feel less Asian because I was bad at math. Because it like because of that stereotype, you know.
Let me think
I'm
of
so
a
sorry I got so quiet.
I'm trying to think. Really most of like any like oppression that I faced, because like my elementary school or basically all the schools I went to, there were like the majority of the students were black,
Mm-hmm.
but like it was still microaggressions amongst the black people.
Yeah.
Like my parents are African, so I don't know during elementary school what happened, but like at some point there was a whole like African booty scratcher phase. And that had me so yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah,
There
because
Would
like
you like to
laugh at it.
so
explain?
many things. There are so many jokes made towards like African people in general. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
When
really messed
Ebola
up.
was happening, when
Oh
Ebola
my
was
god, yeah,
around,
that's
I would
true.
laugh, but like I was low-key hurt. Like
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it got
Dang,
like really
Vine
quiet.
really gave us all issues. That's
It
kind of
really
No, for
did. Oh my
real.
It really
gosh.
did.
It plagued
Oh
our
no, it wasn't just Vine. It was YouTube because YouTube in
Shane
yeah.
like
Dawson,
2010,
Oh my
it was
god.
bad.
because
I
like
was
it wasn't acceptable at the time. It was just more like, I guess, I
Nobody
don't
can
know.
do anything to you from a
prominent.
Yeah,
screen.
it was like it wasn't like it wasn't wrong, but it was more accepted at the time. But that
it was
doesn't
more like
make
a
it
joke,
less bad. Like the stuff Shane Dawson was doing in 2010,
right?
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
Oh
Like
no, not
for
Shane
real.
Dawson.
And then he made money off of that. I'm like,
exactly like that one video, that parody he did of Nicki Minaj. Jesus Christ. Like it's like,
Yeah.
and the fact that he had such a big following, kind of scary. Like,
yeah,
Mhm.
back
and
then,
plus his fan base was very young.
it was more like if you say it was a joke,
Then
then
people would be like, oh, haha.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, it's a joke." That means like it's no longer offensive in any way. It means absolutely nothing anymore. It's just
Same
like
thing
I
as
don't
like going in the street and punching someone and being like, it's a social experiment.
exactly.
It's
Right.
perfectly okay.
What?
You're on What Did I Do?
Like that
Or no,
one
what
guy
was that show called? What would you do?
What
Yeah.
would you do?
John Quinones.
Yeah.
What you do?
John
I'm John Quinones.
Hi, my name is John Cannon.
From What Would You Do? Oh my god! That's our next
That
guest, by the way.
yeah, that's
John
our
Quinones.
Oh my
That's
God,
a great
John
idea.
Quinones and
Invite
who
me
is
back,
the
please.
totally will. John Quinones and who's the other guy we were talking about earlier?
U.S.
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
Unfortunately, we can't get him on the show because he is dead. So
He's dead?
he
the
is.
last time I checked,
Wait, really? I'm
Who is
Googling
Ronald
this.
Reagan
He's
again?
not dead.
on this
Regan?
What?
episode of Cultural Connection, we will be discussing the sudden death of former President Ronald Reagan.
Oh, he's a
We're a
president.
crime podcast.
Wait, he died in 2004. Hello?
Hey,
He's
that's when I
dead?
was born.
Wait,
I thought he was alive.
That'd be so stupid.
I thought he was a politician, not a president.
Okay, 6 people did not know. Or
Alexia,
actually
a
5.
president is a politician.
no, like a representative or something. I
No.
can't I can't
I
believe
knew
I
he
wanted
was
to
a
go into
president, but I
politics.
didn't think it was that long ago. He died the year I was born. That's kind of messed up.
He died the year I was born as well.
Oh, but I'm
I was
cooler.
born in
Well,
05. Can't relate.
Haha,
Imagine, loser.
Who died in your year?
loser.
The youngest here.
Am I? No, Marjorie
Wait.
is actually. Marjorie was
Marjorie,
born
how
Marjorie?
in like August.
Oh. August was like
August.
2005?
Yeah, that's right.
Yo.
Wait, who's the oldest here? Is it Kenneth?
Kenneth.
It's probably Kenneth.
Probably Kenneth.
Kenneth.
Yeah.
Kenneth.
I don't know who died. Who? What?
Ronald Reagan died.
Ronald Reagan died in
Reagan?
2004. I
Reagan?
was born in
Reagan?
2003.
Reagan, how do you say
It's
it?
Reagan.
Reagan.
I was
Reagan.
born in 2003. Anyway, by the way, we're very off topic, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What's on topic again? I don't remember.
AAB.
We're
Oh,
so good
yeah.
at this.
Going back onto the topic, I will be asking our next question, which is I would like to know from you guys, because when I was doing research on AAVE so I can give a definition, this word popped up and I was like, what is this? So what is code switching?
So code switching is basically when you are a person of color. I don't think it's like specific to Black people. I think it's just like if you are a person of color who speaks in a different dialect when you speak to people usually not oh my god gunshots, but yeah, when you speak to somebody not of that community, you will switch your dialect to one that fits their community, right? So like somebody who speaks AAVE will switch into, I guess, a quote unquote formal English dialect to speak to teachers. Okay.
Oh, sorry, it got quiet. I meant to say something, but I know I think Trang, you were with me there. Whenever we went to it's not a field trip. I forgot what it was. It was for a district thing. We were going with like a bunch of people. I literally can't remember what it was.
Okay.
But I kept hearing like a lot of like the Black students on there being like, "Oh man, I can't talk Black anymore. I got to talk," because we were going to like a very very white place, very very white
Yeah.
place.
Oh,
Do you
we went
remember?
to like a church, right?
Yes, we were going to a church, but it was specifically for like a district related like
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
thing. Yeah.
Was it like
We
So-
a
had to
conference?
meet the
Yeah, it was a
freaking
conference.
the principal. Yeah, it was a conference.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
conference. But there were a lot of like Black students who were there who were just like they were like practicing how to speak white, if that makes sense.
Holy jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like very common. Like, so I will speak a certain way around my family or my friends. But when I got my first job, I answered that phone sounding white as hell. Like, I made sure, like, my mom literally sat me down because I was like calling places and she's like, you can't speak like that. Like, you're not going to get a job if you keep talking to people like that. I was
That's
like,
really bad.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
wow. Because I don't know how to, like, AAVE is like frowned upon almost in society, that they think like
Mhm.
when Black people speak like that, it's considered like unprofessional. But
Yeah.
when non-Black people speak, or white people, when white people speak AAVE, they're like, oh, they're so cool and they're like trendy or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's sad because that's not even their dialect.
I
Yeah.
want to interject real quick. So talking like about interviews, my father is in charge of a lot of interviews for his work. So he tells me all the time that like usually whenever you want to apply for a job, you want to speak, as like not properly, but as like respectful as you can.
Yeah.
I feel well, okay, sorry. But like I feel like even if a white person were to like use AAVE or a black accent in an interview, it would be just as like, oh, I don't want to hire this person because they're speaking like that, just as a black person.
I think that could be the case, but
Mhm.
then you also have like companies. If you're in like I guess a media-based company, if you're a white person and you speak with AAVE, you're usually seen as trendy, like Savannah said.
Mhm.
It's seen as like a skill to be able to connect, like quote unquote, connect with a young like consumer base, right? But
So
if you're
I'm sorry,
black,
that's so
it's
weird.
not the same way.
A skill is like a language.
I guess.
Yeah, I took
I don't know.
the
Yeah, I'm
AAVE.
bilingual, guys.
I'm
bilingual,
I speak
guys.
white and AAVE. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, but like you've seen like I guess those tweets from corporations that
Oh my
are
god,
very
you're
obviously
right.
using AAVE, but you're like a white person wrote that.
I've never thought about it like that before. That's true though. Like, corporations will like try to connect with their younger audience by using AAVE.
When most of the case it's from somebody who when they use it it sounds stilted and like wrong. It just sounds wrong.
Marjorie, what are your thoughts right now? You haven't talked. What are your thinking thoughts?
You're thinking thoughts.
What are your
You're
thinking
thinking-
thoughts?
You're thinking thoughts.
Yeah.
Are you there? Marjorie, are you there? Hello? Oh no. Where did she go? Marjorie?
Technical
Marjorie.
difficulties, maybe?
Probably.
Uh-oh. Somebody
Uh-oh.
wanna okay, but going back to the code switching thing, is it like usually used for
I personally, like when I speak to adults that aren't black, I will code switch.
Mhm.
So whether that be teachers, an employer, um, any adults I see who's not black, like that's how I speak.
Mhm.
I will change my dialect and I will make sure not to have a quote unquote accent, although I don't think I have one. And I won't use AAVE like at all.
Mhm. I don't know if Marjorie is still here, but this was my last question. Just lastly, is there anything you guys would like the audience to leave with knowing?
I think like this whole
Um,
conversation. Oh,
That was so
okay.
loud.
But I think like the
Hello?
most important part. Oh, hi Marjorie.
Hey, Marjorie.
Hey,
Are you
I don't know
back?
what the hell happened.
Oh
I
We
was
were
talking to
waiting for
myself
you.
for like 5 minutes straight.
no.
Right. Okay. Are we still talking about code switching?
Yes, we are. We'll go
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to that. We'll go back to that.
Okay. Okay. I can go now. All right. Yeah. My experience with code switching, like, what should I call it? And it's like if I have a like audition or anything, I do theater by the way. But if I have an audition, I would like change the way, like just like be more articulate, better, not better, but like more advanced vocabulary, just to seem more polished. I guess is basically what it is. Because I know. I feel like if I were to go into an audition with like an AAVE or like a black accent, then they'd feel like less, or they'd feel like they wouldn't want to cast me, or that's just in my own head. I just feel like if I go into an interview, like not interview, audition like that, then I'd be less wanted. So I just code switch.
Is that like usually just only in like professional places or spaces? Spaces.
No, it can be as public as like talking to like a cashier or something. Like I'll go to McDonald's, be like, hi. Like that's not how I talk. But I mean,
but I think that was the last question. Did I ask any other questions after that?
You were supposed to ask, is there anything they want the audience to know before we wrap it?
Yeah, like before that. I was about to ask that question, Savannah. My line.
Well,
Jeez, Savannah, calm down.
why am I being attacked?
Because you stole my name.
Let me say my line. Let me say my line. Okay. Lastly, is there anything you would like the audience to leave with knowing? The both of you.
Is that code switching?
Is that an example
Is
of
that
code switching?
Is that an example of code switching?
Did you just code switch? Oh my god.
it kind of felt like it.
Kind of felt like
Yeah.
I'm just good at acting.
Right.
Back to the question.
I'm flipping my non-existent hair, but
You're bald?
I'm bald.
Did.
No, I'm not bald. I'm not bald anymore.
Real bad?
Anyway, is
Close
there
enough.
anything?
Pitbull? Mr. Worldwide?
Mr. Worldwide.
Darling.
Darling.
That's our next
I'm
guest, by
so
the
sorry.
way. Pitbull.
Oh yeah,
Mr.
Pitbull.
Why do we have so many guests? Ronald Reagan?
Because
Mr.
we're
It's
Worldwide.
amazing.
Reagan!
Reagan.
Anyways, is there
Okay.
Anything
you would like the audience to know?
before?
Before we end off.
Why are we speaking in intervals? Continue.
Okay. Marjorie?
Oh, okay. Before we depart, I just wanna.
Is that code switching?
That's code switching.
Okay. Okay,
No, you need to say it in a
Before-
British accent now.
Why is it British?
Before we depart.
before we leave. No, I just want the audience to know that you don't need to use AVE as a means to appear cooler or trendy or anything, because it's not that serious. I mean, completely honest. It's really not that serious. Like the way you speak normally or in your own community, in your own area is fine. And also, like, what different Black people think about non-Black people using AV is different. So, like, just be aware that some people, like, are seriously offended or, like, they feel a certain way about that. And some people aren't as, or don't care as much. But it's just safer just to do your own thing. Just so that you're conscious about how other people feel. And so it's just easier for you. So you don't have to do your own code switching. Just be yourself.
Yeah. Also, want to add on to that. I think it's important for the audience members, like for our non-Black audience members, to reflect on the reason you speak the way you speak, and if you do so in a genuine or a disingenuous way. Because even if you think it's something small, like, oh, it's just a vernacular, it's just like a way of speaking, it's not that serious, you may be subconsciously and like unknowingly adding on to a negative and harmful stereotype of Black people without you knowing, you know? So just be conscientious of like what you're doing and the reasons behind it.
Is conscientious a is that a word?
Conscientious.
It sounded good.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah, it
consci-
sounded good.
conscientious.
Yes, I know how to speak, Alexia.
So everybody, tonight's homework is to reflect on your actions.
Yeah.
Reflect on your
but-
I'm
actions.
assigning homework.
Yeah,
I want a worksheet.
and go to
Oh god.
Worksheet.
I want a 5-page
I want
essay.
to.
That's just
Okay,
you.
Mr. Daniel.
and a PowerPoint.
Oh god.
I want to
you
go
say
Format,
what?
format.
Do we have to blur his name out?
We said it. We said it last
Man,
time.
there's so many Mr. Daniels. It doesn't matter.
They,
Who
they
cares?
won't know which Mr.
Just
Daniel
say
you're talking
Mr.
about.
Fair anymore.
Mr. Kevin
Exactly.
Daniels.
Mr.
Oh,
Let's not say the full name. Let's not say the full
You have to
name now.
bleep that.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
believe
you
it
have to
out.
bleep that.
There are a lot of Kevin Daniels out there. Don't worry about it.
Look
don't
at in a
work
phone
there
book.
anymore.
It's
It's
like
not
Kevin,
that
Kevin,
big of a
Kevin, Kevin. Okay, but let's end this off quickly because my cat is screaming outside. I want to thank our guests today for joining us and educating us on the topic of
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Thank
could
you guys so
not.
much.
We could not
This
have
was
done
such
this
a-
episode without you guys because we would not have anything
Literally.
to say. We cannot say anything about
thought you
this.
It would just be
Kidnapped.
silent.
So we were
I
Yeah,
really,
we're
really
just
did not
we were
like
really
those
dependent on the
episodes.
guests today.
Yes.
So thank
We
you.
were leaning on you guys.
Thanks,
So thank you
guys.
Yeah.
so much. Thank you. This was a
No
very like
problem.
entertaining and very educational episode. I
It
feel
was
like
also
this
a
is
very
a really good
difficult topic.
Mhm.
This
It
was.
was very
That's
difficult.
true.
We had to delay the episode just to do this.
How many times did
We delayed this
reschedule?
episode
Three
like
times.
twice.
Three
Three
times.
times. Yeah, 3 times.
Times.
Apologies to the listeners for not uploading on our regular schedule.
Yeah,
It'll
unfortunately.
we will for sure upload on Wednesday, hopefully, for this next one.
Hopefully
Yeah.
next week.
But it was
Also,
such a good
apologies for the
episode. It
fireworks.
was worth it.
This was a very good episode. I didn't know what code switching was at all until today. We have like a small script, and I was reading over it before the episode, and I looked at it and I was like, "What?"
Right. We were
I
having a
was
hard time
surprised.
thinking of questions because we were like,
was
I don't even
surprised.
know.
This was
I was
also
man. So we do have a light script that I follow by religiously. That is my Jesus right there.
It's your only religion.
Jesus.
But today I went off script like a lot. Like most of my questions were off script. I think we only have 3 questions. And I
After the
made-
first question, you just kept going, and I was like, okay, Fur.
Yeah.
Like,
I was not supposed to be speaking.
Because
I was
I mean,
pleasantly surprised.
I think you asked a lot of questions that I'm sure a lot of our audience is wondering that I was wondering because I feel like AVE is not talked about enough amongst people that aren't Black. So
Right.
we don't get as educated as we should be, which is why you should listen to our podcast, watch our previous three
Exactly.
episodes.
get
Free
educated.
we have
shout
3
out.
other episodes. Go watch them.
Other episodes.
But
We
this is the
also
best
touched
one.
on media in this episode, which we touched on in a previous episode.
Oh, wink,
Woo.
wink.
Whoa.
Go to our channel and watch
What?
wink,
Also-
wink. But I do believe we all learned quite a lot today, which is always the purpose of this podcast. We do have a special guest to be expected next week. I wonder who it'll be next time.
Kanye West.
Former president and
We just
also
had Kanye West.
not alive.
Oh,
We're gonna have a Ouija
Ronald
board.
Reagan.
We're gonna have
John
an
Cena.
We're gonna
Did you say
interview Ronald
Waluigi?
Reagan through a Ouija board.
Waluigi board?
We'll just like contact a
Ouija board.
necromancer.
Have you seen that video?
We will talk about this after we finish.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
We really
Bye,
appreciate.
everyone.
I didn't
Bye.
we need a closing
No, we're leaving
statement.
now.
No, I would really like to appreciate all of you watching. Episodes are posted out each week as of right now. Please check out our Twitter. So I'm still not the only one following. It is very lonely.
I followed it.
You did?
Can we please
I'm
get
being alone
someone
all my life.
Who isn't on the podcast to follow it?
Follow our Twitter, please.
Please, I'm begging. I'm on my hands and knees.
Be a guest. That's not true. I mean,
No, when a
maybe.
chance.
Maybe.
That's probably true.
When a
We are
chance,
planning
yeah.
on what do you call it? On having guests that are outside from our like friend groups and stuff like that. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and like this video and watch our other videos.
Turn notifications on.
Turn your notifications.
Slap that
bell.
like button.
Slap that like button.
Monetize
Smash
us.
that like button.
Monetize.
Smash that
Can we
subscribe
get to
button.
like 4,000 likes? I would really.
If we hit 100 likes, our next guest will be Pitbull.
405, Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. 305.
It's a big old one.
You think we can get Dream?
Oh my
Dream.
God.
You're
Please.
What is that white man gonna
That's what
say?
the mask is.
He's gonna talk about the mask.
This is
Mask?
good
Is
publicity.
normal
If we can get on Minecraft YouTube, we can get more viewers.
Shut up.
This
I
is
think we
great.
just need to
Please.
offend Minecraft YouTube first, and then
I hate Dream and everything he produces.
oh no,
And
this
now
is
we wait for this to roll in. Thanks everyone for watching.
Okay.
until the next time.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.